So I have to give a little hat tip to the fine folks over at Digital Foundry. I saw that they had a video up there about the Touryst for Nintendo Switch, and I hadn't even heard of this game. It's developed by Shin'en, the same team that brought us the Fast RMX game for Switch, and they brought out Fast for, I think, the Wii U as well, a racing game. But this is far from that. This is an action-adventure game with a heavy emphasis on adventure and a real kind of homage to games like The Legend of Zelda and, all of these exploration type of experiences out there. I was completely floored by this game. It is done from the vantage point of, I feel like it's David Harbour in Stranger Things. He's got like a Hawaiian shirt. He's going on vacation. He's hitting a bunch of tropical islands, but everything is created with little cubes. It looks like it's a voxel game or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what the technology is, but it's a bunch of cubes all stacked together. And it reminded me of that 3D Dot Heroes game, which I loved back on the PlayStation 3. You play this little character who has to, explore the environments and go into these dungeons and solve these different puzzles and defeat these bosses and collect magic items. But everything is done very tongue-in-cheek, and all of the characters that you're going to meet are, they're trying to sell you shorts or shirts or ice cream. You pick up these little travelogue books that give you access to different islands. On every island, there are copious amounts of secrets. You might find messages in a bottle floating in the ocean. You might find coins as you learn to zip across the grass, and those will pop up out of the ether, just like they do in Zelda. You eventually learn how to double jump and do some super cool things like visit an arcade and play actual in-game arcade games like a super pixelated version of Fast, which I thought was just genius. And then you've also got these super fun little arcade diversions, which you actually spend some money on to collect tokens that are used in the arcade. Everything is so tactile and so intelligent and so well crafted. I love the little surfing minigame that you got to do in this thing. I loved all of the interactions that I had with the different folks. I love being able to run up to a beach towel or a lounge chair and just press the lie down button and just chill out. I was playing with my nephew for part of this, and he just busted out laughing every single time I would press the lie down button and just chill for a bit. I thought that was just genius. I love the level design. I love that you learn how to scuba dive and you can go underwater and figure out how to access another monument. And then once you get into the monument, which is, I think, the real heart and soul of the game, you're trying to uncover the mystery of these islands and what all of these monuments mean, it becomes almost like a separate game, It becomes very Zelda-like, and you've got to, maybe bounce on a bunch of different objects and not fall to your doom, or fall into some boiling lava, or get defeated by some big snake monster or something like that. Definitely some cool challenges in there, like even in the arcade, you're trying to beat the high scores so that you can earn money from a competitor that's put his name all over everything. You'll run up to a kid that's controlling the quadcopter, and you'll take control of the quadcopter, and you've got to get to all of these different targets within a set amount of time. Everywhere you go, there's a little hook. It's got a lot of great mental stimulation, but when you're trying to uncover all of these puzzles and when you're trying to defeat things within a set amount of time, a lot of mysteries to uncover and a lot of secrets that make you feel very fulfilled. You actually get a to-do list. There's a whole bunch of, information about how long you've been playing and what you visited and where you have to go. It's not an especially massive experience, but it's so well refined and so well put together. It feels like you're playing from a meta standpoint. It feels like one of these cubic creations that they have within the game. It just feels so precise and so perfectly tuned and so intelligently crafted, but also a tremendous amount of heart and charm. Even the interactions that you have with the little boat captain that's going to take you back and forth from all of these different islands, the shopkeeper that's going to sell you travelogues, you've got to get a suit to go into a club. There's just all of these tight design decisions, and I was just really, really pleasantly surprised by how wonderful this game is. I guess the only quibble that I have with the game is that sometimes the blurring effect, the idea that stuff is out of focus, is just a little bit too close to the camera, so it feels like the world is incredibly small or your character is super nearsighted. It just makes me want to have a more expansive, amount of land to traverse across on these different little islands, but they're not that big, so you can cruise around them super quickly. And that's my only real quibble. You have full 3D camera control, so you're, able to look at these beautiful graphics and all kinds of different different perspectives. Sometimes that becomes a bit of a challenge when you're in some of these different monuments as well. Sometimes being able to jump perfectly from one platform to another when you're repositioning the camera and everything's got these sharp edges can become very tricky. Especially tricky when things don't have a sharp edge, when you're this little cube character and you're trying to jump on these floating orbs and you're repositioning the camera trying to figure out exactly where to jump before they explode. Maddening, but I got through it and it was super fun. This is one of the best Switch games I've played in 2019. I feel like it's come so late in the day, a lot of people are going to completely ignore this title. Don't miss The Tourist. Maybe make this a fantastic holiday gift for yourself. I'm going to give The Tourist a 9.5 out of 10. It's one of the best Switch games of 2019.